hurricane coverage on my radar.
Well, hello. Thank you for this special edition of the My Radar forecast. We're continuing our coverage on Irma, so a little less traditional forecast today to get you up and out the door and let you know what's going on with Irma. So you can see, of course, our formidable hurricane over my shoulder. We have all been watching this for days as it raked through the northern Leeward Islands and then over very near Puerto Rico and then over the Turks and Caicos yesterday and now headed just to the east of Cuba, central Bahamas, and then headed towards Florida. So before we get into all of that, let me show you a quick look at some video that came out of San Juan, Puerto Rico yesterday or 2 days ago. Pretty frightening stuff. Take a look. So you can see there that, of course, there was no match for power in many parts of San Juan or around San Juan. We've heard there's been widespread power outages and, of course, cell towers are down also. So all things to come, of course, unfortunately, for the state of Florida as we head towards the weekend. And the concern, of course, will be the storm surge and what that will possibly mean. So projections from the Hurricane Center have been pretty consistent for the last several days. There's been a couple of wobbles to the left and to the right, but overall, again, staying locked in across southern Florida, where that's the greatest risk for storm surge, high winds, potentially some catastrophic damage in those areas. And then moving into central Florida as a strong category 3, maybe a weak category 2, and then quickly getting weaker after that in, of course, the southeastern U.S. where flooding will be a concern. And also we'll be dealing with it probably into Tuesday and Wednesday, but nowhere near the time that we dealt with Harvey. And this is in no shape or form a system like Harvey at all. Here's a look at the hurricane warnings for the state of Florida. Hurricane watches were issued for parts of central Florida that will likely get upgraded at some point today. And I've been talking a lot about the storm surge the last 24 hours or so because the storm surge is so dangerous. And right in that small area there in southeastern Florida, from Miami down to Homestead over to Bonita Springs, that's the highest threat for this 6 to 9 foot storm surge, which can really be life threatening. If you're in that area and or you have family, they need to get out of that way of that storm surge. And the storm surge also very dangerous in the Keys, 3 to 6 feet in Key West, up near Broward and Palm Beach counties, about 1 to 3 feet. Again, also a concern. So timing of the winds, of course, everything starts to really go downhill Saturday when we start to see the winds pulling in. In terms of hurricane force winds, that should start moving over parts of southern Florida through Sunday and into Monday, and then you can kind of see it spill towards the north as we head in time through central Florida. Then almost the entire state, about 95% of the state's going to feel something from Irma because it's such a large hurricane. So here's a look at that, or a look at our wind field. And tropical storm force winds extend out about 300 miles from the center. So really big hurricane. Most of those winds are going to be on the right side in the Atlantic Ocean, but still we're going to get plenty of winds, don't get me wrong. And hurricane force winds extend out about 120 miles on the northeast side. But again, a large hurricane, many areas, most of Florida at some point will be feeling hurricane force winds from Irma. Here is a look at a computer model. This is a guide. This is not what we're saying is going to happen, but this is a possibility with the eye you see there over my shoulder. And as we head into Saturday, again, 6:30, conditions really start to get bad across southern Miami-Dade, Broward County, through Key Largo, Homestead, Miami. And as we head in time through the overnight into Sunday, skirting right along the coast of Miami, down into Key Biscayne as well. Parts of Fort Lauderdale and Broward County getting some really bad weather as well. And then as we head into Sunday, we'll start to see it pull north, staying just off the coast across eastern central Florida, but still central Florida is expected to get some pretty bad weather as well. As I mentioned, easily tropical storm force winds and hurricane force winds are definitely a high possibility as well. So those are all things that we've got to fine tune in your forecast, and that will become clearer as we get further in time here. But we definitely hope folks are prepared. And I wanted to show you the models just because for 2 days now we've seen consistency in the runs, and that's also an indication that everything's trying to line up in the atmosphere for or scenario that really we can't avoid. So here's a look at the water vapor, that big slice of orange that's just above Florida. That's a cold front. That's going to what's drawing Irma rather northward, and we've got a little bit of complex weather there. But I wanted to touch on the weather across the other parts of the country. So we're getting some scattered storms as we head into the weekend across the Pacific Northwest Canadian border, and then also we're going to be getting some showers across the central Rockies down into the Four Corners. But of course, the bulk of the worst weather in the country, of course, by far and away, will be the effects from Irma. So that's an update on the latest. We will have continuing coverage in the app today and on social media. We thanks for all the folks that have been watching, and we hope you have a great Friday. We'll be here for the duration with your extended special coverage on Hurricane Irma. Sorry.